gamers. There are millions of gamers in the world, and within these millions, there are a lot of different kinds of gamers. For example, we have the head-shooting FPS gamers, the toxic MOBA gamers, and the casual sports gamers. But there is one particularly odd group of gamers in this community. The degenerate JRPG lovers. But yeah, what the heck are degenerate JRPG lovers? Oh, you know them when you see them play. They're the ones who always pick the female characters on the character creation screen, because if I'm gonna look at the character, it might as well be a girl. They're the ones who buy games based on whether or not there is a cute anime girl on the cover. They're the ones who spend money on gacha games for skins for every single character, even if they don't use those characters at all. And dear viewer, I have a confession to make. I am a degenerate JRPG lover. I know, perhaps it's my fault that I'm unable to control my own wish to see cute anime girls in my games. Maybe I have to introspect and really figure out why I have to make my main character female instead of male. But why would I look at myself when I can just blame all the mediocre games that cater to that instead? That's right, thousands of years ago, degenerate JRPG lovers were just the same as any other gamer. Until the waifus attacked. And as these gamers saw more and more waifus, they slowly fell to the dark side. Instead of looking for good gameplay and plot, they started looking for more anime titties. And plot. And now they complain every time they see anything related to censorship of their beloved anime titties. They have slowly devolved into degenerates, just like wanderers in the desert, looking for the next anime waifu on the game cover and hoping it's not a mirage of a good game. Because of that, I feel like a lot of JRPGs nowadays just toe the line of being a good game. Most of them can be considered not bad at best, but very few actually ascend to the level of an amazing game. They tend to have strong points, but they tend to have just as many weaknesses or lacking parts, as if they're incomplete. Just look at all the random games with cute anime girls on the covers I've played. Criminal Girls? Actual shit. Dungeon Travelers 2? Well, actually, not bad, despite being pure waifu fodder, but still nothing amazing. Tales of Arise? I don't even know where in the Mariana Trench that storyline took a nosedive into. Azure Lane? Also not a bad mobile game. Azure Lane with skins? Oh, hot dang, this is the best game ever! The point is, JRPGs have been swimming in a sea of mediocrity, with only a few that actually end up being amazing. Yet, why do I still insist on being a JRPG lover? It's because throughout this sea of mediocrity, I'm given the slightest bit of hope. The few games every year that end up being amazing and absolute treats to play. The amazing games that mix story, gameplay, and waifus all into one. It's like the oasis in the middle of the desert. The light at the bottom of the ocean that I can't turn away from. It's the Persona 4 Goldens and the Persona 5 Royals. It's the Nier Replicant and the Nier Automata. It's the Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler. Some games just mixed everything together in this almost perfect way, creating this amazing combination that just makes me not want to stop playing. It's like fine wine with cheese. It's like credit cards with gacha. It's like pineapple on pizza. Hey, who put this in my script? Everyone with a sane mind knows that pineapple on pizza is blasphemy. Xenoblade 3 had big shoes to fill, especially since Xenoblade 1 was also one of these amazing games for me. And honestly, I think Xenoblade 3 is an easy fit for one of those amazing JRPGs. So here's my review for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. You know how there are a lot of different kinds of storylines out there in movies? Maybe there aren't as many in games, especially in JRPGs, since you have to kind of allow a mix of watching and playing at the same time. Granted, JRPGs still have quite a few unique storylines. You have time travel plots from Radiant Historia, you have tragedy plots from Nier, you have episode-style arcs that all come together in Octopath Traveler. But most JRPGs tend to follow the typical shonen anime tropes. Set up the background of the main character finds new power, main character fights bosses on the way while learning about his powers, main character sees despair despite growing for a while, main character experiences a big reversal, main character defeats final boss, everyone is happy. It's a tried and tested cycle, and there's a reason why shonen anime are so popular. So you might ask, but yeah, if JRPGs have similar plot lines, then why are some better than others? Oh, fellow degenerate. The answer is simple. It's all in the execution. How engrossed do you feel during cutscenes? How much can you relate to the characters? Are there a lot of plot holes that ruin immersion? Does the plot even make sense? Obviously, there are a lot of factors that contribute, so it's hard to break down what exactly makes a plot so well executed. But when you see it, you know. The feeling of being unable to put down the controller, even though it's time to sleep. The feeling of understanding plot points that were foreshadowed 10 hours ago. The feeling when your heart is pounding and you can't turn your eyes away from the screen because you need to know what happens next. Powerful moments make a game memorable, and Xenoblade 3 has them. The premise is interesting right from the start. Our main characters are set in a war-torn world between two nations. All people only live for 10 years, and they're raised from birth until they die to fight. Right after the first tutorial, we see the horrors of war from Noah's point of view as an officer, someone who sends off the dead. And as the story goes on, all of the views of the current world just slowly break down, and we get to see that entire process. There's another powerful moment later in the game worth mentioning. I won't spoil anything, but true to the shonen anime cycle, there is always a point in which the main character falls down before seeing a reversal. And I think that was the most powerful moment of Xenoblade 3. My heart was pounding, and it was at that point that I knew that this game is one of the greats that I've been waiting for. If you need a comparison, it's probably most similar to the reversal moment in Persona 5. If you haven't played that game, by the way, then you're probably not a degenerate, which is good. But you should still play it because it's amazing. Anyway, spoiler warning in case you haven't played Persona 5. I think everyone who's played Persona 5 remembers the moment when Akechi comes in, shoots our main character in the head, and while all of this is happening, we're all just thinking, what the fuck? When the reversal comes in and we realize that it was all part of the plan, the feelings just come rushing back, even though we knew that the main character couldn't die here. It was still hard to process that entire sequence. It just played with our feelings, bringing us from the lowest point to the highest point in one go. And that emotional roller coaster is something that was done really well in Xenoblade 3 as well. I won't say that the plot is perfect, because there are quite a few loopholes that just aren't perfectly explained. Plus, we have the usual anime tropes with the power of friendship and whatnot. But you know what? I can't blame them. The longer the story goes on for, the harder it is to patch up loopholes. But I think that the build-up and the more powerful moments were more than enough to make up for it. At the very least, it's better than a lot of JRPGs I've played before. Oh, time to review my games. Let's see. Nice, looking good. Wait, what the fuck is this doing here? That's where it should be. Wait, what is this doing here? I see. Yep, perfect. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that I mostly play with Japanese voices for my JRPGs. But Xenoblade is an exception in that both voices are actually amazing. We had famous English show clips from Xenoblade 1.
Wait! I'm seeing something. It's coming to me. I see it. A vision. Ryan, this is not good. Sharla, watch out! Dunban, listen!
And now we have the best new English voice clips in video game history.
Every time we run, why do we always end up getting drenched? I mean, feathers are a bitch to dry. The difference is, you're an asshole. What's nothing difference? Oh, I've got water in my ears now.
Fuck the ooh kawaii voices. Now we have...
Yes, uni's the bus.
Xenoblade is one of the few games where I think that the English voices are just as great as the Japanese voices. So feel free to pick either when you play. They're honestly just both amazing. The gameplay in the Xenoblade series has always been a little unique. If I had to compare it, it's most similar to MMO style action, where you just stay there auto-attacking until your skill cooldowns come up and use them. Obviously there's a lot more depth involved because of how many classes you have available and all these other extra skills that make combat more fun. You have your typical MMO classes of DPS, tank, and healer. DPS has skills that need you to attack from the side or the back. tanks manage aggro, and healers heal. Sometimes. Tyon, how many times do I have to tell you that you need to heal when the tank is low on HP? God damn it. Any character can switch to any class, but that doesn't matter because the fucking degenerates will always use their favorite waifu as their main character in all of the fights anyway. The overall combat is fun, and the game doesn't really encourage you to grind. There's a full open world out there, with all kinds of monsters roaming the land, but you get rewarded more for fighting stronger monsters than for fighting weaker ones. The world itself is also amazingly large, and there's always something to do, places to explore, and monsters to kill. Another thing that can't be missing in any JRPG is the side quests. These can range from "please save my sister, she's about to be eaten by monsters," to "can you please get me some apples?" Just take your fucking apple, okay? If a game has a lot of side quests, the way they're implemented can either be grindy or be ridiculous, boring, and grindy. Thankfully, a lot of the side quests in Xenoblade 3 actually have meaning. Heck, about 70% of the game is fully voiced, and most of the important side quests are too, thankfully. Most of the fetch quests are set aside in a separate tab that can be accessed anytime, so most of the side quests are dedicated to actually having a side story plot going on, so it's so much better than random people asking for shit that doesn't matter. Granted, even though combat is fun, there are still a few issues. First, leveling. While there's nothing wrong with the leveling system, it's more about the pacing of the leveling and its consequences. The main issue with the leveling system is that in order to unlock and level classes, you need to fight enemies on the same level as you. Xenoblade 3's world is absolutely gigantic, so it's super easy to get lost, fight new enemies, and do side quests all around the world. Plus, you get bonus XP that you can use to level up even further, though this one's optional, which means you could unknowingly hit a really high level really early into the game. Personally, I had to suppress my urges to explore the world so that I could keep my level control. Since there's more classes to unlock later into the game than early, it's actually better to control your level so that it's easier to unlock and level new classes. Plus, fighting bosses at a really high level causes some weird dissonance for me. It's a really awkward feeling to completely plow through a boss, only to watch a cutscene afterwards where the heroes are struggling really hard to fight. For example, let me tell you a famous story. When David fought Goliath, he only took 1 stone to insta-kill Goliath. But did you know that there was a follow-up? In JRPG logic, Goliath rose up and started beating the shit out of David, and he talked about how that was a nice warm-up, and that David is gonna need way more than that to beat him. But then, David realized that he cannot beat Goliath without the power of friendship, and calls on Joseph, his son in the future, to travel back through time in order to beat Goliath. Wait, what do you mean the story's too crazy? It's a JRPG! This has definitely happened before. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. The game does allow you to level down in the post-game, but I wish they let you do it in the main game too, so that we could maintain the feeling of fighting hard bosses. Another minor issue was the difficulty. Difficulty is always a little awkward to balance. A slight tweak in certain settings could change a game's difficulty from rock, paper, scissors to Dark Souls at the press of a button. In this game, the hard difficulty can be pretty hard, but normal feels almost too easy. The natural issue with Xenoblade difficulty is that hard mode adds too much HP to enemies, and the AoE attacks can basically one-shot your healers immediately. Your own abilities get a decent amount of nerfs as well, which makes killing bosses that much harder. But it also adds a lot of strategy in terms of what classes to use, what accessories to equip, and which characters to control. Mostly because while the AI doesn't do a terrible job with controlling healers and tanks, against harder bosses you want to make sure you're able to control when the heals come out and how aggro is managed. This part is fun, but the non-fun part comes in because of one thing: enemy HP. Hard boss fights could last around 15 minutes on hard mode, and dying in the second phase doesn't feel too good, although it becomes much easier later in the game, when you have more options for damage and healing. On the flip side, on normal mode, you can pass through most fights pretty easily as long as you have a balanced team, so it's much more casual. There are all kinds of unique monsters that count as bosses in the wide world, plus the story boss fights can get pretty intense too. I'm honestly not sure how to actually balance this, but I did appreciate the difficulty on hard. My only issue was that some of the harder fights took a little too long. But what else can I say? The gameplay is just solid and an absolute treat to play through. It's a great experience to just get sucked into a game and really enjoy most of it. At the very least, the game is respectful of your time for most of the game, especially considering that finishing everything will take 100+ hours. Personally, I want to say that Xenoblade 3 is the best JRPG of the year. Aside from Elden Ring, I don't see any other game this year that could really compare. And as a degenerate JRPG lover, I 100% prefer this game over Elden Ring. 100+ hour journey, powerful emotional moments, lots of character customization and combat, and so much more. I just couldn't put it down when I was playing. Xenoblade 3 is this year's JRPG oasis. The standout over the rest of the mediocre JRPGs. Maybe now, us degenerate JRPG lovers can stand up for what we should. Maybe it's time to stop caring about things like anime titty censorship, or whether or not there are swimsuit DLCs. Maybe it's time to look for the things that make games good. It is time to look for great characters, great gameplay. That's right, us JRPG lovers need to rise up. Rise up against those games that are just bidding us with anime waifus. Rise up against all those mediocre games with revealing skins. We need to rise up! Oh, sorry, give me a sec. Oh. Wait, there's a new swimsuit skin sale in Azure Lane. Wait, where's my credit card? Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching the video. I was trying a few new things, so I think it took a little longer to come out than what I thought. But if you liked the video or want to see more of it, please make sure to like, comment, or subscribe, and so I can figure out also how I want to make more videos in the future. Thank you!